The four lepers at the gate, boldness that saved a nation. Have you ever been in a situation so hopeless that every option looked bad, but doing nothing looked even worse? That was the exact dilemma of four outcasts, four lepers sitting outside the gates of a starving city. They had no health, no status, no strength, and no future. Yet what they chose to do would change the destiny of an entire nation. This is the untold courage of the four lepers at the gate from 2 Kings chapter 7. Israel was under siege. The mighty city of Samaria was surrounded by the Aramean army. No one could go in. No one could come out. And inside the city, famine was devouring the people. Food was gone. Hope was gone. Humanity was fading. 2 Kings 6:25 says that things were so desperate that a donkey's head sold for 80 pieces of silver, and people were fighting over dove droppings just to survive. Mothers wept. Fathers grew weak. People cried to God, but there seemed to be no answer in sight. And just outside the city walls sat four lepers, rejected by society, banished for their disease, too unclean to enter the city, too weak to fight in battle. They had been forgotten by the living, but not by God. One day, as their stomachs growled and their strength faded, one of them spoke. "Why should we sit here until we die? If we go into the city, there's famine, and we'll die. If we stay here, we'll die. So let's go to the camp of the Arameans. If they spare us, we live. If they kill us, we die anyway." 2 Kings 7:3-4. They realized something powerful. Doing nothing guarantees defeat. Taking a risk opens the door to possibility. So in the dim light of evening, with trembling hands and wounded feet, the four lepers began their slow journey toward the enemy camp. Every step was dangerous. Every breath was uncertain. The camp ahead could mean mercy or death. But what they didn't know was that God had gone ahead of them, because as they walked, God multiplied the sound of their footsteps. To the Aramean army, it didn't sound like four weak lepers. It sounded like an entire army rushing toward them. Terror seized the Arameans. They shouted, "The king of Israel has hired the Hittites and Egyptians to attack us." And in panic, they ran for their lives, leaving everything behind. Tents, horses, food, silver, gold. The enemy camp was now a ghost town of blessings. The four lepers finally reached the camp, and instead of swords, they found silence. Instead of guarded gates, open tents. Instead of death, a feast. They entered one tent and ate until they were full. They found drink, treasure, and supplies beyond anything they'd ever seen. They began to gather silver and gold, hiding it for later. But then they paused. One of them said, "We are not doing right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves." 2 Kings 7:9. They could have stayed silent. They could have lived in luxury while the city starved, but instead they chose integrity over selfishness. They ran back to the city gatekeepers and shouted, "The enemy camp is empty. There is food, there is abundance. Come and see." 2 Kings 7:10-11. At first, no one believed them, but the king sent scouts. And when Israel saw that the camp was truly abandoned, the entire city rushed out and gathered food until their hunger was satisfied. One act of courage by four forgotten men became the salvation of a nation. So what can we learn from the four lepers at the gate? 1. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Move in faith. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Sometimes God is just waiting for you to start walking before he sends the miracle. 2. Your greatest breakthrough may be one bold decision away. These men didn't have strength, status, or certainty, but they had courage to move forward. And God multiplied their steps. 3. Blessings are meant to be shared. When God answers your prayer, don't hoard it. Become a messenger of hope to others. Maybe today you feel stuck, trapped between fear and famine. Maybe you feel like nothing will ever change, but remember this: God can use the weakest people to do the strongest things. He can turn the outcast into a deliverer. He can turn a risk into a rescue. So don't sit at the gate of hesitation. Get up. Move forward. Trust God, because your next step of faith might be the one that saves many.